So a little thing happened.
You're starting it with so. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail you. Keep going.
So a little thing happened between the last couple episodes. We got some fan engagement.
First time. Hiya.
Now, let's look back at what it was.
Yeah.
On the 7 episode, our question was, what are your thoughts on this film? From Matthew DeVries, we get one of the best detective movies. That's a great insight, Matt.
Great insight, Matt.
Nice job.
We agree. That's I'd say that. I'm pretty sure that's actually what I wrote for my overall thoughts for that film. It was one of the best detective movies I've ever seen. So thank you, Matt, for saying that.
It's guys like him who are keeping the world running around.
Yeah. It's guys like that are keeping this podcast above water.
And then Matt also, I guess he's been on a bit of a bender recently.
Sure.
On our Kubo and the Two Strings episode, left a comment that said, cool style, mediocre plot. What an astute analysis, Matthew.
A what analysis?
What an astute analysis, Matthew. It does have a cool style and also a mediocre plot. It's guys like Matthew that are keeping the world going around.
And the kind of guy keeping this podcast above water.
So keep on hugging. Say hi to your mom. Tell her, watch out for screen share. They're coming down the street and they're not stopping for anyone.
Now, into The Incredibles.
That was actually perfect, I think.
Throw the slack, you fucking moron!
Hi, welcome to Screen Share Podcast, a movie podcast about trying to make everyone a superhero and be the same. My name is Calder.
I'm Adam.
Okay, you don't have to say it like that. And this episode is on The Incredibles.
It's about The Incredibles. Sorry,
All right.
I had nothing else. I started talking and I didn't really have a thing.
I think his brain snapped a little bit.
My
there.
brain is rot because last night Calder and I played some NBA 2K My League, and Calder somehow convinced me to stay up till past 3 a.m.
I didn't convince you. We were winning. We're winners.
Yeah, and I
we
was
don't quit.
actively struggling not to fall asleep, and you were like, we got to do one more draft.
Yeah, and we did one more draft, and who did we get?
I don't know. I don't remember any of the
I don't
names.
remember either.
I think I blacked out.
We
for
went
that
from
entire
being in
thing.
the finals
In our
one
first year.
to rebuilding.
Within
around-
2 seasons.
Yeah.
Because we made a win now trade for Vince Carter.
Yeah, that was a bad trade.
That was a
I
bad
think.
trade.
That was a bad trade.
I think it was a fun trade. Because who did we trade?
I think Dominique Wilkins.
Right.
Yeah.
Who was a youngin' that we should have probably kept.
Yeah. And now we can't pay anyone because our salary cap's fucked.
Yeah.
I think we're
Yeah.
$74 million over the salary cap. Which
And we are $74 million under or over the salary cap, and also had like 5 players on the team. But we couldn't fill out the roster because we didn't have the money. We basically completely fucked it. But, we had that first season.
we'll go again
Yeah.
later on.
But our boy Luca did win MVP.
That's true. Yeah, my boy in many ways, many more ways than one.
Many more than one ways more than one.
So The Incredibles.
1984 film.
No.
Oh, sorry.
2004.
Close.
No.
Well, I ended in a 4.
Directed by Brad Bird.
Yeah.
Which I realized that Brad Bird has directed 2 of the movies we're doing this month, which is a little
It'll be interesting.
conspicuous. We probably should have done like an anime movie or something.
I was thinking of, because in when we were teasing animation month, I mentioned how I might swap one of them out, and you were like, "I'll fucking kill you in your sleep."
Yeah, I think I said that.
Yeah, and the debate was swapping out the Iron Giant for a different 2D animated film, but I think I'm gonna probably stick with it. I debated swapping it for Princess Mononoke.
Oh, interesting.
But I'm going to keep Iron Giant because I honestly think it'll be interesting to talk about Iron Giant having done another Brad Bird film.
And Vin Diesel, don't forget about him.
What about him?
He is the giant.
And what about it?
He is the Iron Giant.
And how does that relate to the conversation at large?
It starts his career as one of the best voice actors in Hollywood. Groot, Giant,
Baby Groot,
Baby Groot,
Baby
the pacifier. He was actually all CGI in the pacifier.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could not pay for him. But they could afford the CGI, which was impressive.
And they could afford his voice.
Yeah, his voice is cheap. You could get... He just does cameos.
And it's easy to, like, even, like, in those days, it's pretty easy to animate a full CG Vin Diesel because his body looks like putty.
Yeah, he's smooth like a baby seal.
Yeah.
And it's just an easy thing to do because the way that he is built is like you could probably just take the character model of Gumby and throw a couple lumps in it for his muscles.
You try to CG animate like Jack Black or something, you're gonna have a hard time. But Vin Diesel, like, there's probably like a Blender preset that looks human.
That thinking about having to animate Jack Black actually just gave me chills.
Oh,
yeah.
Then we should probably move on. I don't want you to get too upset.
Bradley Bird,
probably
the highest acclaimed, maybe the best animator to come out of Pixar, and maybe one of the better American animation.
Who's the other one?
For what?
Disney Pixar. I remembered his name. It was Brad Bird, and
I'll take a look.
He had like a little. He had a
Wall-E?
Me Too scandal, and was kicked from Pixar.
Oh, I know who you're talking about, but I don't know what his name is.
He probably worked on Pete Docter.
Yeah.
No, I think I'm thinking even of someone else.
Well, Pete Docter's the other big name. There's also Andrew Stanton, who did like Wall-E and
I'm gonna do a little goog.
Some of those movies, but I don't think we should accuse him of anything. I know Pete Docter's a bit of a freak. IRL. John Lasseter?
John Lasseter, that's the one.
Okay. Yeah, John Lasseter took over as like more of the head of Pixar.
Yeah.
Later on.
But he was let go though. And he's part of a different animation studio. Now Pete Docter is like co-president or whatever the title is at Pixar now.
Yeah.
But anyway, those three are kind of like the Pixar boys.
Yeah. And Brad Bird, I think, stands... Well, because Brad Bird tried to do other stuff. Like, he did Ghost Protocol. He did Tomorrowland. And neither of them really worked or were, like... what people wanted. Starts off with the Iron Giant, which we'll talk about later in this month. Does the Incredibles. Iron Giant's with a different studio, then moves to Pixar to do the Incredibles. Does Ratatouille, then goes into live action for Ghost Protocol and Tomorrowland, and then does Incredibles 2. And I don't know if he's got something else coming up. Coming down the pike.
Pipe, you mean? Pike?
Coming down the... Smoking that pipe.
Whoa.
Yeah, watch out, everyone. I'm smoking that pipe. He's got a movie called Ray Gun that's in pre-production, and also a movie called 1906, which is in development. About a young man discovers a series of secrets and lies that left San Francisco highly vulnerable to the fires that engulfed it in the aftermath of the historical 1906 earthquake. Sounds like a chipper movie. But like the Iron Giant, Incredibles, Ratatouille. I don't know about Incredibles 2. We can talk about that a little
Here's
later.
the thing. I will say this. Watching The Incredibles again made me want to jump like right into The Incredibles 2. Not that it's like... I think it's like a fine sequel. It's not like one of the best Pixar movies or anything.
When was the last time you watched it?
When I saw it in theaters. I've only seen it a one time.
Yeah, me too.
So I'd actually be interested to watch it again, see... Because I think a lot of it was... I think The Incredibles came... Because here's the thing about The Incredibles. People
Talk
talk
to
about,
me.
like, the
Talk to
Pixar
me.
formula and how it's like, what if this was this? And then also throw in some, like, very sentimental and probably a cry-worthy moment in there.
What if Rat was Chef?
Yeah.
That's a classic one.
That's a
We've been
classic
talking
one.
about that one for centuries. We just haven't had
What
someone
if Rat
show
was
us what
Chef?
it means.
Yeah. And what if Rat pull on hair of man with ginger?
What if Iron was giant?
Yeah.
What if Incred was a Bulls?
What if a man named Incred was on the Chicago Bulls?
What if Ghost was Protocol?
Yeah.
What if Tomorrow was Land? These are our questions.
These are our
that
questions.
Hollywood can only give us answers to because they're impossible to answer as a civilian.
So, but like The Incredibles, I feel like, because this is the first movie where they tried to get like humans, like animate humans.
Yeah.
Because they did like Toy Story, which they started with because they were like, if the animation looks like plastic, that's fine. They're toys.
Yeah.
And then they also did A Bug's Life, which was bugs, obviously. But like they didn't really like...
You sure about that one?
I don't know. I haven't seen it actually. But
You sure the
The
bugs are
Incredibles was their first like attempt at being like, all right, we're going to do a human-led movie where we animate humans. There's a time or two in this movie where you're like, they haven't quite gotten it right. But for the most part, I'd say it holds up. After like 10 minutes of watching the movie, I was just like used to it and it was fine. But I think the thing with Incredibles 2 is that this movie, Incredibles 1, is just kind of like a really well-written, well-paced like action adventure movie.
Yeah.
And then after this, Pixar starts to get into like the more like higher concept, like sentimentality, like start to go in that direction with things like Up. And I mean, Up is a bad
Well, let me
example,
give you
maybe.
a rundown, okay?
Well, can I just finish my point?
Okay.
I think then there was like a gap after Incredibles where people got used to what the idea of a Pixar movie is. And then Incredibles 2 came out and it was just like an action adventure movie. And people were like, well, that's a pretty mid Pixar movie. Like there not a lot happened. And it's like, I'd be interested to go back and see if it's actually like a pretty good action adventure movie instead of like, you know.
Do whatever you want, brother.
Oh, I will.
All I'm telling you is here's the movies Pixar made leading up to Incredibles.
'Kay.
You got Toy Story, A Bug's Life, Toy Story 2, Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo, and then Incredibles. That's all within like
What was the
9
one right
years.
before Incredibles? Sorry?
Finding Nemo.
Finding Nemo. So I guess they animated a human with Boo in Monsters Inc. But like,
Yeah.
that's the closest.
But they kind of had humans in the Toy Stories, right? Like you'd see like Andy.
Yeah, but
a
you'd see
little
their
bit.
legs.
There was Sid. Remember
Yeah,
they showed
and Sid looked bad.
Yeah. I'm not saying it was good, but like there was never a movie, which you're right about, that there was never a movie where it was just like humans are the protagonists.
Yeah.
Even though these people aren't like humans. You know, it's not like they're trying to make realistic people.
No.
Some people are 3 feet tall, other people are 7 feet tall.
But like they weren't trying to make people look realistic in Toy Story either. They barely showed humans at all. But they were like clearly doing an animation style.
Yeah.
It's just this is the first time cuz it's weird watching Toy Story and looking at Sid and then watching The Incredibles and looking at like Dash. And it's like one of them makes me uncomfortable and is like uncanny valley a little bit and the other one is not. And it's like I think it's cuz in Toy Story it's like you can tell like, "Whoa, they're trying to make a human and it doesn't look right." Whereas in this one it's like, "Oh, that's a cartoon human being."
Yeah,
You know
well,
what I
it's
mean?
because the Sid one's anatomically correct.
Is it?
For the most part,
I
yeah.
guess so.
Like, it's not perfect, but these aren't anatomically correct. These are characters.
Yeah.
Mr. Incredible might as well be...
A triangle.
Yeah.
He's an upside down triangle.
But then after this, they do Cars, famously. Ratatouille, Wall-E, and then I think, like, Ratatouille, Wall-E, Up is kind of where you get the sentimental stuff coming in. Where it's, like, emotional, a little more artistic. kind of pushes the limits, where it's like the pitch for Incredibles is action adventure family movie.
What if what if there was a family of superheroes is really the...
Yeah, it's kind of basically Fantastic Four.
Sure.
And then...
Is Fantastic Four a family?
Yeah, more, I mean, like, in a way.
Found family.
I'll find your family in the gutter. And then Wall-E is like, okay, we start off with 30 minutes of a silent film of
I love
Wall-E
that movie.
packing up the earth and cleaning up the garbage. And it's like, that's just a harder pitch. And it's just more emotional. Or like Up is like a man deals with his grief by unleashing balloons and floating to some waterfall. Which Up is like...
Here's the thing about Up. When it hits, it hits.
You mean the first... like 10 minutes,
but then also I think there's parts later as well
when they're like, oh, squirrel, oh, no. Dog, I'm a dog.
I think that like the adventure plot line of Up is just kind of mid-fine. But I think like there's good parts of Up. I just think that when remembering Up, a lot of people just remember like, yeah, the first like 15 minutes, and then they remember Doug the dog, and that's kind of it. And it's like, you got to remember, there's like a bunch of random shit that happens in the jungle, in a cave. There's a villain. Yeah, and on a blimp.
Which a lot of Pixar movies were trying not to have like villains.
Yeah.
Where Incredibles does have a villain.
But it makes sense because it's a superhero movie.
But like, there's no
even
real...
Syndrome's like not really a villain. I mean, like, he's a villain. But I mean, like, it's a twist where it's not just like, and here's the bad guy. Yeah. It's like, the villain is kind of like integrated into the main characters.
Yeah, I think it's just a well-written villain.
I guess so, yeah.
But like, Toy Story doesn't really have a villain. They're trying to like get to Andy, basically. They're trying not to get thrown out.
Sid.
I think A Bug's Life does have a villain, and I think it's Kevin Spacey. Sid's a villain.
The fucking locust?
Yeah, I think so. Sid's more of an antagonist, though, because he's only in like one scene. It's not like he's constantly trying to undermine them.
He's not in one scene.
For the most part.
It's literally like 30 minutes of him trying to blow them up.
I guess.
Although I guess it's less of like he's less of a villain and more, yeah.
I think he's
kind of just in their way.
That scene is.
What scene?
The part with Sid.
There's multiple scenes with Sid.
I mean, it's mostly just the one where they get captured.
Well, no.
And they go into his room.
There's the scene where he gets them at the arcade in the claw grabber.
Yeah.
Which happens like, I don't know, 25, 30 minutes into the movie.
When was the last time you saw Toy Story?
A while ago, but I think you're misremembering. Most of the movie happens at Sid's house.
I don't think that's true.
I think it is 100% true.
Actually. Adam's
you
lying.
keep talking, I'm going to goog.
How are you going to Google that?
How long are we at Sid's house?
Okay. Interesting. We're fighting. Wow, I actually want to beat the shit out of him right now. I'm going to spank him. Toy Story 2. Nope. I've lost all my momentum because you threw me. You're Googling how long are they at Sid's house. I don't understand what's going on here. Anyway.
Okay, this is all... I couldn't find it, obviously, because that was a stupid question to Google. But, like, he gets them in the claw grabber.
We don't need to argue about the timeline of Toy Story.
It'll be quick. He brings them back to his house. He, like, ties Buzz up. They, like, do the thing where Woody has, like, a chase with a dog. Buzz, like, jumps off the banister, loses his arm. Buzz has, like, a tea party with Sid's sister. Woody's like then they do like a master plan with all of the fucked up toys to try and escape. Buzz is depressed. They talk to their friends through the window across the house. Like, they spent so much time at Sid's house. They spent so much time there.
I'm just saying it wasn't like only Sid there. You're acting like Sid's in every frame of the fucking movie, like he's the main character.
Toy Story 2, they got, what is it, Stinky Pete?
Didn't even bring up Toy Story 2. Not even talking about Toy Story 2.
Although Toy Story 3, Lotso Huggin' Bear is a good villain.
I haven't watched either of those.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not watching that.
You haven't seen Toy Story 2 or 3?
No.
I'm gonna
Made for babies.
Shit in your pants.
Made for babies. Baby.
I hate you. There's too much vitriol. I hate you.
So then they go from Up to Toy Story 3, which I guess people like or whatever. Cars 2, which is apparently really bad.
Yeah.
Brave, which I don't think people really care about anymore.
Most people don't. I
Monsters,
think it was Pixar's attempt to like
make a princess.
to be like, and now
To
we
make one
have a
for
princess.
girls.
Yeah.
Monsters University, which I don't think people remember exists.
I like Monsters University. It's kind of fun.
Seems uninteresting to me. Inside Out, which is I think when they kind of start getting it back.
Yeah,
a little bit.
They started to get it back a bit with Inside. Well, Inside Out was like a big, hey, we're back.
Yeah.
And it was, I feel like we've talked about this off pod before,
Huh?
but I feel like Inside Out is like when the idea of a Pixar movie hits on everything. Like, it's kind of like the perfect formula for a Pixar movie where it's like they nailed every aspect. It's like a high concept thing, but like it's also very like accessible and kind of cute, but also has like a strong life lesson at the end with like some hard-hitting scenes and like good characters. Like, it just feels like we've seen like a ton of Pixar movies that like, oh yeah, these are aspects of Pixar movies. Inside Out like nailed all of them. We'll probably do Inside Out at some point, so we'll leave it for that. You originally had it in this month, and then you replaced it with Incredibles, which isn't a bad switch, but yeah.
Oh, I guess I did. Yeah, Inside Out's a good movie. This guy likes to explain stuff. I don't know what to tell you.
I just like Pixar movies.
Say it. Say what you're going to say. Say it.
Fred Armisen.
You know why you like Pixar so much? Because you're a Steve Jobs stan. You love
Not really.
Steve Jobs. You'd make out with him if you
I don't
could.
own a single
You'd
Apple
make out with him
product.
when he was all smelly, when he was on that fruit diet, when he thought the fruit was going to cure his cancer. That's when you'd make out with him. Did you know that? He started only eating fruit because he thought it would cure his cancer. I read the Steve Jobs book when I was like 13.
Like how you got it on Vicase for talking about Inside Out. I have no idea what you're talking about with
Steve
Steve
Jobs.
Yep.
Was one of the founders of Pixar.
Yeah, I know.
Well, he got cancer
Yeah.
as an absentee father.
Okay.
And he started only eating fruit because he thought the fruit would cure him. He didn't do the treatments. And then he died.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And then I think he tried to do the treatments later on.
But it was too late.
It's too late.
Because he did the fruits
And now we got
instead.
Tim Cook, the fucking freak, who isn't really personable or a well-liked person or like a good guy.
Well, then he's following in
And
Steve Jobs' footsteps.
Doesn't have a uniform.
What does that mean?
Steve Jobs had his uniform, his turtlenecks, his jeans, his glasses.
His little oval glasses.
He'd still be wearing that today, and we'd all be dressing like him.
I looked like that for my 12th grade yearbook photo.
Yeah, and you look like that right now. So after Inside Out, we should start talking about Incredibles, but let's just tie a bow on Pixar.
Sure.
Inside Out, then it goes to Good Dinosaur. I think a movie that people have rediscovered. I haven't seen it. But
I haven't
this is
seen it
from what
either.
I've heard. Rediscovered as kind of a weird semi-masterpiece.
A friend of ours, Steven,
He likes The Good Dinosaur.
he was talking about The Good Dinosaur being an underrated good movie like literally 7 years ago. Maybe not 7 years
It
ago.
makes sense.
Probably
It
like
came
5
out
or 6.
like 8 years ago.
Probably like 5 years ago then. But I remember working at the greenhouse and we were talking about Pixar movies and he's like, dude, The Good Dinosaur actually like pretty underrated. And
That's
I
what
was
I've
like,
heard. I
"What?"
think it was just like poorly marketed a little bit.
Maybe.
And kind of well, it also came out.
I'm pretty sure my brother also said it was pretty good because he did a big Pixar rewatch.
Oh, it came out like maybe like 4 months after Inside Out.
Yeah, I remember because there was a while, maybe just a couple years, where it felt like Pixar was releasing 2 movies per year, and it was usually like one that was like, oh, this is the one they're trying to hit with,
Yeah.
and one that was like,
Not as
they're
good.
just like, whatever.
Because then we go into 2016, it's just Finding Dory, which is like,
I
again,
haven't
a
seen that
forgotten
either.
thing. I saw that when after I got my wisdom teeth taken out.
That's a good idea.
And then in 2017,
Wisdory teeth. Finding dumb teeth.
2017, they do Cars 3 and Coco.
That's pretty good. I heard
think
Cars 3 was
Coco's
fine, and Coco's a big hit.
Yeah, I think Coco's the one that.
Why are you like borderline crying? You couldn't keep it going.
No, it's because you said Wisdory teeth. I was gonna kill myself. Incredibles 2 is 2018. Toy Story 4, and then we get into a bit of the start of the dark period, a little bit.
With what kind of movies?
Which is Onward, which was the last movie we saw before COVID.
We literally saw it because we went to East Side Mario's beforehand.
No, we went after.
Really? But I
went
feel
to
like when we
Onward.
left the theater, it was dark out.
That's not how I remember it.
I thought we went to East Side Mario's and then went to the movie.
I remember sitting in East Side Mario's and watching and be like, oh, I just got to go home now forever.
Well, yeah, because in the East Side Mario's, we were the only people there. I think there was one waitress, and then I guess the kitchen staff. And I kind of felt bad because I was like, I don't think
they're getting paid.
I guess so. But they would have gotten paid if we weren't there. So I guess we tipped them. Whatever. Anyway.
Just the tip.
The East Side Mario's had like a bunch of TVs on the wall. I've been to that specific East Side Mario's many times. Usually it's like they're showing like 6 different things. It's a bunch of sports games or like whatever. All of the TVs had Justin Trudeau giving an address to the nation.
Do you want to get East Side Mario's?
We could.
Wow. My days turned around. So Onward.
But but I remember it was basically us being like, oh shit, we're in this East Side Mario's. He's literally saying that in like 3 days, everything's going to shut down. You're not going to be able to go anywhere, do anything. And we were like, we better enjoy this day.
And I did not.
You didn't like Onward?
I'm just lying.
Oh, sorry. I forgot you do that a lot most of the time.
Yeah, actually. I do actually, because I got to keep it moving because you're just going to talk. If I don't interrupt you with some snide comment, some rude thing to say, something that hurts your feelings, you're just going to keep talking and talking and talking. Like that's what you're supposed to be doing right now. Like, what the fuck? Shut the fuck up. So Onward comes out.
You look so confused looking at your computer. You've been looking at it for...
So Onward comes out in March. First Pixar movie released in March. That's interesting.
Which one?
Onward.
Onward, yeah.
And then you get Soul in December of that year.
Onward was the first one that was like kind of a streaming platform movie as well. But I don't think they planned for it to be. Because they released Onward and then theaters shut down. So they went, oh, fuck it. We'll throw it on the streaming service.
I think they got like 2 weeks of theater play.
Yeah. And then Soul was just on streaming service.
Did you watch Soul?
I did. Olivia and I watched it when it came out. I like Soul a lot.
Yeah, I think it's a little lost, though. Kind of because of
like
how
it's lost in the sauce?
Yeah. Like lost to time.
Yeah. I think that truly Soul is like... Olivia and I have made like tier lists for Pixar movies a bunch of times. Mm-hmm. Soul for me is always... I don't think it quite edges into S tier. Some days I think it's S tier, but it's certainly A tier for me.
And then we get Luca after that, which is also Disney Plus Turning Red, which we've done on the podcast.
Also, Luca made me bawl my eyes out, which is like I haven't done that for a movie I think maybe ever.
I really like the style, but I just didn't get with it, you know?
Did you watch the whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think
they should have been a little gayer.
Maybe.
Together.
But I think it was like mostly
stuff.
I think it was mostly like a friend thing. Like Olivia and I watched it together and we were like, we both started crying because we were thinking about like, you're going to feel bad after this. We were thinking about like our close friends and how much they mean to us.
You have a close friend?
Not anymore. I have a coworker.
You have a coworker.
Or sorry, what I meant was like the close friend that I was thinking about when watching Luca is I now just see as a coworker.
Okay. I'll tell Matt.
Matt and I have never worked together and never will.
Then Lightyear, which Lightyear, that's a stinker apparently. I haven't watched it. It just seems so uninteresting.
Here's the thing: as soon as they announced it, I was like, they don't need to.
It kind of feels like after Toy Story 4, they kind of don't have any new way to change or innovate on their thing, and the ideas are just kind of not there.
Yeah.
Like, I think Onward is a fine idea.
I think it happened before. It almost seems like they go in waves of like, okay, we should probably do some sequels, and then go, all right, let's do some new stuff. Okay, we got to let's do, like, they do sequels, I think, when they think that they need some saving. That's also why they're doing a Toy Story 5 now.
There's also
they've got
Inside
a couple
Out
stinkers
2
in a
coming
row
out next year.
Inside Out 2's coming out next year?
Apparently. And Elio? I don't know.
Elio kind of looks cool.
Is.
That's about, like, I've talked about it on the pod before. It's about, like, a kid that is accidentally sent as, like, the leader of Earth.
That's supposed to be 2025.
Elio?
Yeah.
Interesting. Wait, but Inside Out 2 is supposed to be 2024?
Yeah.
We haven't seen anything for Inside Out 2, but we've gotten, like, multiple trailers for
Wikipedia's
Elio.
Wrong.
I don't know, maybe.
I don't know.
But
also,
Elio looks interesting.
I think they're not bringing back the whole voice cast for Inside Out 2. Anyway, Incredibles. Let's start there.
We're not starting there. We're continuing there.
Movie opens with some found
Such
footage.
a great movie opening.
Yeah, they're flipping through. It's a little interview with the heroes. You got Frozone, you got Mr. Incredible, you got Elastigirl, and you see their real personalities. You see how Bob acts. He's a bit of a brash character, seems to love being a hero.
Very confident, loves the attention.
He's a bit of a joker.
But he's also, it's interesting, because he's like, I don't know, sometimes I'm like, maybe I'd like to settle down and start a family. And Elastigirl's like, what? You settle down? And leave the world saving to the men? I don't think so. That's the whole line.
Yeah.
But like it's Bob is very much like, I love being a hero, but I'd really like to settle down. And Helen is like, no, I'm just gonna keep being a hero. But then fast forward a little bit, they get married.
Okay.
And then fast forward even more, they are married, and it's like flipped. Helen is like very content being like a mom and a wife and a part of a family, and Bob is not. He's like very clearly in midlife crisis mode, where he's just like, I hate my job. Like, there's nothing I do that I enjoy. I miss when I was really happy. And like, he just starts making all these horrible decisions, and he's kind of a bad guy for a lot of the movie. But like,
well, but also that's seeded in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
So we go from this found footage thing to like a chase scene, basically, where Bob's driving, there's a crime, he's going somewhere, and then he does his little Mr. Incredible thing, and goes to try and stop the crime. But what he does, he's got to save this lady's cat. So how's he going to save her cat? Is he going to climb up there and try and get the cat down? No. He's going to rip up the tree. Aggressive, bit of a bad decision. Try and shake the cat out of the tree. And then when he can't get the cat out of the tree in his stupid way, he smashes the car up.
Yeah.
So he's like destructive in his choices that he makes. And then that also leads to him, when he tries to save the guy, instead of maybe trying to think of another way to save him, he tackles him through sheet glass and lands on top of him.
I mean, to be fair, he had to make a quick decision, but I also completely forgot that there's like a whole suicide thing in this movie, and that they like straight up say a man tried to commit suicide and is upset that he didn't kill himself, basically.
Hillary was like, there's a suicide in the opening of a kid's movie?
Yeah, Olivia and I were both like, wait, what? Forgot about this. But it is very funny. Especially him, Mr. Incredible, being like, I saved your life. He's like, you didn't save my life, you ruined my death. It's like, I don't know. I thought that whole thing was good.
It also shows that he's not a team player, really, because of like the syndrome stuff early on. Or is it, or Incrediboy.
Incrediboy. Yeah. He's
Early
just like
on.
a weird parasocial stalker guy.
Yeah, played by Jason Lee of Earl fame. Call me Earl. My name's Earl. I am Earl, or whatever that show is called. You know the show?
My name is Earl, yeah.
Yeah, I am Earl. He doesn't want to have a teammate. But he does want to have Elastigirl, but maybe he's not the best at working in a team.
Yeah.
And then we see that he's not the best at working in a team.
He's not good at working in a family system either.
Yes.
Family team.
Now, here's the thing. The movie has a bit... I was thinking about this, because we just did Kubo.
You did just do Kubo.
It has a bit of the same DNA as Kubo in terms of, like, the message of being, like, when family comes together, you can achieve great things.
And when there's honesty and communication and blah, 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 and trust.
So I was trying to, like, figure out... Because I've seen The Incredibles a bunch of times. I love The Incredibles. It's probably my favorite animated movie. Or the next one I'm doing for this month, Spider-Verse. But it's probably this one. So I was like, what makes this different than Kubo when it's got similar messaging?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's the fact that every character has, like, a problem.
Yeah.
Like, there's something that they can't do or they need to overcome.
And then they do.
Yeah.
Overcome.
But they do it through, like, these small steps where it's, like, whether it's Bob trying to, like, become a better family man or, like, learn to work together with people and all that, or it's Violet trying to, like, control her powers and gain more confidence. Yeah. It's all done through these little steps.
Yeah.
Which I think just makes the movie more satisfying overall.
Well, yeah, it kind of hits on everything that a movie needs to hit on, which is like pacing. The pacing's great. It feels really fast.
Yeah, and it's long. But it's a pretty long animated movie.
Yeah.
It's 2 hours long.
Yeah. But like it feels fast, but also it feels like it takes its time when it needs to. Like it lets things kind of like flesh out and marinate, but like there's not really a lull at any point. The characters are all incredible. Whoa! The things that are Incredibles about it are the Incredibles characters. But then also, don't look at me like that. The music is also stunning.
Michael Giacchino, he is the guy for Pixar music.
Yeah.
And he also did, I think, the Batman as well. He's done a ton of shit.
Yeah. So music
very
is
good.
awesome. The plot is great. Like, as Olivia and I were watching it, we were both kind of like, dude, watching like pre-Marvelification superhero stories is like really cool and interesting.
And the movie's also filled with bad bitches, if you know what I mean.
Sure.
You're a big fan of one of them, but also there's Edna.
Edna's awesome.
Edna's incredible. She's probably my favorite character in the movie, and which is ridiculous.
She's awesome.
But, you know, Edna Mode. Brad Bird voices her.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
It is crazy.
Apparently he was like, they were like trying to find a voice actor for her, and then he was just like, no, do it like this, and then he would do the voice. And then it's just kind of like, okay, well, he can do the voice. He has the voice.
He went full Lin-Manuel Miranda on them and was like, I guess I'll play the character.
I guess I'll play Alexander Hamilton if I need to.
Dude, there was an interview that came recently where someone was like, hey, a lot of people wonder why you cast yourself as the lead in all of your productions. And he was like, well, with all of them, it's a thing of, I just cast myself because the lyricism is so difficult. So I'm like, oh, I'll just fill in until we find someone. And then I just do it. And it's like, no, dude, just be honest. You want to play the lead. Anyway, interesting.
I'd love to see Lin-Manuel as Usnavi. Nope. Nothing? Okay.
I did want to say this, though.
He's never seen that one.
In watching this movie, not just because I have, like, an insider connection, but, like, the character of Helen Parr is, like, genuinely so good.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
She's incredible.
I've watched this movie so many times, and, like, this time watching it was when I was like, oh, like, genuinely, like, an all-time great, like, character.
Yeah. She's got depth. She's got things. She's got struggles. She's got things to overcome. She's got a dump truck ass.
That's also true.
Now
Should we address the elephant in the room?
I think he's hee-hawing in my ear. I don't know how would you describe the noise an elephant makes?
Trumpet.
I think he's blowing his fucking big face penis in my ear.
Face penis?
Yeah.
Trunk?
I think face penis is probably acceptable. Okay. Look up r/Elastigirl on Reddit. Do you want to know who owns that subreddit? Who's the sole moderator?
I'd just like
of
to
that
introduce
subreddit?
myself as the founder and sole moderator of the Elastigirl subreddit.
What's the follower count at?
Last
how
time I
many
checked, it
members
was
you got?
54,000.
We should post this episode on there.
Maybe. No, that would be weird. Because it would be weird as the mod to be like, guys, listen to my podcast. I know
Adam.
you're here trying to get horned up.
Yeah, but what if they're just gonna what if they want to slow jerk it to a picture of Helen with our podcast in the background?
Maybe.
That still counts as a play. Spotify can't tell.
So here's the thing about the podcast. So what happened was
The subreddit.
this is a full confession here.
Okay.
Oh yeah, the subreddit, not the podcast. Here, full confession. I feel like everybody has one or more of these in their lives, but Helen Parr, Elastigirl, was one of, if not my main sexual awakening as a child. I didn't realize it. I wasn't like, oh, fuck. This girl's got an ass on her. Because I was like, 6 years old, 7 years old. But I do remember being like, there's something about this character, you know? Anyway, grew up, realized.
Realize what?
Just realized.
Realize. Realize she's got a big ass and you like that.
Well, to be honest, I'm not much of an ass guy.
But you got an ass on you.
But
Show
that's
me your dump truck.
That's the thing. She doesn't just have an ass. She's got an hourglass figure. You know? And the interesting thing about this movie is that they like play it for jokes like, don't you hate it when all the weight goes to your rump? But it's aged interestingly that like that kind of became in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think Kim Kardashian's probably stealing from this one. It's a bit of just appropriation.
So as far as the subreddit goes, Incredibles 2 finally announced. For a long time, Incredibles was like the one movie that everyone was like, why did it not get a sequel? It literally ended in the perfect way to set up a sequel.
The Undertaker.
The Underminer.
Fuck.
I'm under you, but nothing. Or no, I'm beneath you, but nothing is beneath me.
Yeah, I'm under you, and now I'm under me as well.
Yeah, that's what he says. That's his line, the Underminer. Apparently, there was basically an Incredibles 2, but like it was in the form of a video game where like the Underminer is the main villain.
Yeah, I played that video game.
I never played it. I kind of wish I did.
I tried to look it up, but I don't know.
While you're looking that up,
like
I'm going to
shit.
finish this subreddit thing so we don't have to talk about it anymore. Incredibles 2 is announced. Finally, a sequel to The Incredibles coming out. And I go, is there an Elastigirl subreddit? I feel like there's got to be. Because everyone was talking about like, whoa, Pixar changed Elastigirl's character model and made her even more thick. Everyone was saying. So I was like, there's got to be an Elastigirl subreddit. There was not an Elastigirl subreddit. So I made it. And
Why'd you say that with violence?
Because that's literally all I did is I made it, and then all of a sudden 54,000 people came and were like, well, 54,000 people came. So I made the subreddit, and I made it very clear in the subreddit's description that it's just for anything Elastigirl related. It's just an Elastigirl, fan content page.
Yeah,
Is it
porno
my
page.
fault that about 99% of the posts are, as the internet would deem, not safe for work? No, I wouldn't say it's my fault.
It's also not your fault that you've been banned for things.
I was banned from Reddit for I think 30 days or something because someone posted art of Violet on the subreddit, and because I was the moderator of the subreddit, I got punished as well. I think the person who posted it was like permabanned, but I was banned for 30 days. I put a strict no. I can't believe we're talking about. I put a strict no art of like Violet and Dash rule on the subreddit. And I've kept it up.
You cleaned up the streets.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like Bob Parr.
Yeah. And because the interesting thing is, and this kind of tells you about the internet a little bit, when those things would be posted, they would be like massively reported so that I could like remove it, but they would also be the most upvoted. So I'm kind of harboring a community of perverts.
What did you think you were gonna do?
I didn't know what I was gonna do. I just made a subreddit, and they showed up. I didn't ask for
Build
these
it
people.
and they will come.
Last thing I'm going to say about the subreddit, the weirdest thing that is posted there frequently is people saying, hey, does anyone want to add me on Keek? Do you remember Keek?
Mm-hmm.
So that we can role play Elastigirl. And
you do that a lot?
I try not to get involved with it. I've even deleted some of those posts because I think they're low effort and weird.
I stretched my boobs to be bigger.
That is a big question that's been posted multiple times. It's just like, wait, if she can contort her body and stretch it any way, is she making herself thick, or is she just naturally like that?
Let's talk about this.
Okay.
This is a hot debated topic.
Okay.
I think she's got a base form, and her base form is the body she walks around in every day.
Yes, I agree.
But if Bob wants to get a little frisky, she could give him a little something else if she wants.
Here's the thing, there's multiple scenes in this movie where she pulls him back into the house and they clearly do something. Yeah. All I'm saying is,
does she contort her body?
She's versatile
into looking like a dragon?
Dude, I hope that she's like, Bob, what are you thinking? Like, anything special you want me to do for you tonight? Go. And he's like, be a dragon. I want you to go dragon mode. And she's just like, okay.
Have you seen Shrek?
Or he's like, can you turn into a boat again?
I've always wanted to fuck a boat engine.
I love it when you turn into a boat. Anyway, the subreddit, kind of a dark spot in my life, but also, kind of a bright spot.
You're still doing it. So, where do we even go from there?
Let's just pretend we didn't have that conversation.
So the first big family scene
is the dinner table.
Well, no, there's a little before that where Helen. So we see their everyday lives. Let's restart. We're restarting. Hi everybody, welcome to Screen Share, a movie podcast about
Helen Parr. Oh,
interesting. So we see their regular lives after 15 years after superheroes had to go into hiding. So Bob's working in insurance. He's got the smallest cubicle with a massive column in the middle of it.
Yeah. Which, can I say, work in the trades, brother.
Yeah. But maybe they don't have... Well, here's the thing. Hillary's kind of wondering what the style is, or when it's supposed to be.
I think the intro is like 60s, and then I think
it goes to
85? To 70s, 80s, yeah,
or I guess 70.
Because they've at least in the intro, everybody's got fedoras on.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe it could even be 50s, and then it goes to 70s,
late 70s, yeah, maybe
early 70s.
Maybe it goes. Oh yeah, maybe it goes late 50s and then jumps to early 70s.
It is
or something.
Sort of out of time though, because they do have computers and stuff like that. So maybe it's just stylized 70s.
Oh yeah, he gets
90s.
an iPad.
Yeah. So it's a little. I don't know. It's
one
fudged.
of these.
But 15 years later, he's working in insurance. Pillar in the middle of his office. He's helping people at the insurance agency.
Yeah.
He's got the worst boss. I mean, this guy's a real crackerjack. He is. He's
pretty
not
bad.
Want to deal with him. Then
who's looking out for our stockholders, Bob?
That's actually pretty good.
Was it?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Thanks.
There's a man getting mugged.
Is that your Bob?
There's a man getting mugged in the alley.
Can I do mine?
Yeah.
He got away. That wasn't good. That was too. I do love how he grabs his neck.
Yeah. That man's 2 feet tall.
Dude, when he like jumping forward, when he like grabs Mirage when he's captured and is like, I could squeeze her and break her like a toothpick. I'm like, jeez. Jeez Louise.
I've actually have done that recently, and it's let's just say oddly satisfying.
You and Hillary do kind of have like Bob Parr Mirage energy.
Interesting. That makes sense. Is Mirage Bob's OTP?
What does that mean? One trick pony?
Yeah. I think it's one true pairing.
Oh.
Should Bob be banging Mirage?
No.
Leave your comments down below.
I don't think so.
Then we see Helen. Helen has to pick up Dash from school because Dash is putting thumbtacks on people's seat. Hillary thought the thumbtacks was pretty fucked up.
It is pretty good. Had she not seen it before? Or
no, just the fact that he's like putting thumbtacks on
that is definitely fucked up, but I think that's of the time. I think that was like a common
I
prank.
do that all the time.
But what I found interesting is when the teacher's pointing at the screen, the first time it shows it, I do see like a little zoop. Like I see Dash like do a little zip. It's like 1 or 2 frames.
Yeah.
But then every time he points again and it's like zoomed in, I don't see him move at all.
They might not have it happening in there.
Maybe.
Just to like, because like you see it, but then the audience looks closer and they're like trying to focus on it, and then maybe it just doesn't happen. So they're like, wow, he really is fast.
Yeah.
And then we get the dinner table scene, which is a big family scene together. And this is where we kind of see how this family interacts, what the roles everyone takes.
Excuse me.
Bob is a sort of an absentee, a little bit absentee. Maybe that's too strong of a word, but like checked out father.
Yeah.
Helen is a bit of a hovering mother. Dash is kind of a rabble-rouser. Violet is a little depressed teenager.
Yeah.
And Jack, well,
is a baby.
We don't know what's going on with Jack.
Dude, it surprised me how little Jack is in this movie.
Oh yeah, he's not
like he's literally in the dinner scene basically,
Sid.
And then he's at the end.
Yeah.
Like there's not even really any.
But he's
middle
in the
scenes.
second one a lot.
Yeah. Well, because that's when they figure out that he could shoot lasers out of his eyes.
And he has that thing with the raccoon. Remember his scene with the raccoon?
Yeah.
That killed in the theater.
It did.
I was trying to think of what Pixar movies I've seen in theaters. The only ones I can remember are Inside Out, Incredibles 2. I think that's kind of it.
Can I run through mine?
I guess Onward.
Finding Nemo, I saw in the theater.
Wow.
Which was I think that was the first movie I ever saw in the theater. Up, I also saw in the theater. Don't know if this counts. It's not Pixar, but it's Disney. Bolt. Remember that garbage?
You saw Bolt? And isn't that John Travolta?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure John Travolta is Bolt.
Inside Out, I definitely did. I'm not going to go through them. I think I've seen actually most of them in the theater. So it doesn't matter.
How do I see? Yeah, John Travolta is Bolt.
That's ridiculous.
And Miley Cyrus is Penny. Miley Cyrus. I had the game of Bolt. I think that movie made a.
I don't know why, but I've seen a JPEG of the Bolt for the Nintendo DS, like shared around online all the time.
I think it's just because it's got a cultural footprint.
Yeah,
and it's Marvel. I'm sorry.
No.
Sorry. Bolt walked so Marvel could run.
Sure. Bolt bolted so that Marvel could.
You went too high with bolted.
So that Marvel could fucking fall over flat on its face.
Now here's the trajectory of Disney. I don't know. Actually, I don't want to talk about that.
Me neither. We gotta try really hard to stay focused on The Incredibles.
So at the dinner table, we get basically the thesis of the movie.
Yeah.
Which is, if everyone's special, no one is. I think.
Which they kind of hammer home in more ways than one. Like sometimes, like what you said is kind of like the general, like if everyone's special, no one is. But they also like have the scene where Helen basically like is this rubble? She finds like a tiny little speck on him, and she's like,
but if you see it, his shoulders are dusty.
Yeah, but like, and he's basically like, or she says, you don't even want to come to your son's graduation, and he's like, it's not a graduation. He's moving from the 4th grade into the 5th grade, and then he does this whole thing where he's like, he literally says like, it seems like everyone's just constantly trying to find out new ways to celebrate mediocrity. And when that happened, Olivia and I were both kind of like, okay, you could tell this was like made right in the realm of like, they keep giving kids participation trophies, which like, it doesn't bog the movie down, that thing, because they kind of like keep going back to it. It doesn't bog the movie down, but it was noticeable. And it's the first time I've watched this movie where I was like, oh, they're like really doing the whole like participation trophy thing. But I think the wider, broader theme of like, if everyone's special, no one is, does work. It's just like, honestly, it was mostly that Bob scene saying that was like, ugh, whatever.
I think it's a little bit, well, I think it came out before that sort of thing. But this is like an idea that's been around for a while. I think it's more just like, if people have, or at least the way I interpret it, and I'm not saying you're wrong, if people have a special ability or talent or thing they can do, but they hide it, not specifically superpowers, but like they don't pursue it because of whatever judgment from the entire world, that's worse for the world than people pursuing their special talents.
Yeah.
Much like we are as two smart talking. I hated that.
Yeah, me too, man. I didn't. As too smart talking.
Let's cover up that thigh so we don't get age restricted on Spotify. They know. They know what we're doing. So what else? What else can we go through?
Well,
we could literally go through every single scene of the movie.
Well, I was gonna say, you literally like last episode or 2 episodes ago or something were like, you kind of do this thing where you just go through the entire plot. That's kind of exactly what we're doing right now.
I mean, in a way, I'm just trying to like set up the movie.
Sure.
Of, like the themes and the characters and that kind of stuff. But I feel like we're jumping around a lot. Just, okay, give me 2 scenes you like.
Okay, like 2 favorite scenes?
Yeah.
I really like when Helen goes to Edna and
That's
like
good.
Edna, she has no idea, like kind of, it's really fun because we get Edna mode, which is awesome. But like, it's fun because we're like seeing all these super suits, and it's kind of fun to see Helen have no idea what's going on, but Edna's just like, trust me, darling, like whatever. It's just fun. And like shooting rockets and flamethrowers at a fake baby, and Helen being like, what do you think the baby's gonna be doing?
Also, there's no cover on the baby's face. So
No.
It's like shooting bullets at the mannequin and they're bouncing off, but that's going through Jack's skull.
Yeah.
If that happens.
Well, that's what they would think, but it
Yeah.
turns out Jack
Actually,
can just
that's
turn
true.
into iron.
Iron Boy.
But
I think
like
both
that scene
Edna
because
scenes are good.
Yeah.
Where Bob goes earlier and he's like he's like, I need to get it patched up.
yeah,
But then she like kind of sells him on a new suit and he's like, oh, should I get a cape? And no cape, but that comes back. Multiple times.
But I like the Helen visiting scene because it also, being fun, also like really hits. I feel like that's like the shift of the movie when it's like now Helen knows what Bob's doing. Because you can tell that she's like, also like when Bob leaves for the conference, but she found like the hair on his suit. How like, I love the little beat where he's like, all right, bye. And then she like takes a second and you can tell she's debating bringing it up, but she's like, I'm going to give him a chance to like say.
Mm-hmm.
So she says like, she's like, I love you. He takes a pause because he's like, oh shit. Like,
And I also think he's
I'm
like, why
lying
is
to
she
her.
like saying it like this. Like, what's going on? She seems weird.
I took it as like him kind of like realizing that he's like lying to her.
Yeah.
But I think in his mind he was like, I still got to keep lying to her because I'm protecting her, I guess. But
And
also
making
she'd get
money.
mad. But like that kind of leads into her visiting Edna, because it's kind of just like, oh,
Well, she notices the
never mind, keep going. Yeah,
she notices the patch or the stitch on his old suit, and that's what sort of encourages her to be like, oh, Edna's obviously fixing it because Edna's the only one that can really fix this stuff. Is that working?
no, it's full.
So I think that's a great scene. That's
Yeah.
one of the better scenes in the movie. I think it's about the midpoint where it's like Bob has made his decision, because I think Bob is given the more like conventional 3 act structure, where it's like you see his boring life. It's changed when like Mirage kind of jumps in. He gets the call to action. He takes it.
His life is exciting for the first time in like 20 years or whatever, basically.
Yeah. And then he
jumps
goes
on
up,
it.
peak, and then he has the valley where he's like captured. His family's captured. He thinks they're dead and all that. But then Helen's kind of takes place. Hers is a little delayed, where she's like kind of just like
Well, she's like a
around.
secondary character in the first act, kind of. And then she like comes in hot.
Yeah. She's just like puttering around. And then when she knows something's wrong with Bob, that's kind of her call to action to be like,
Yeah.
okay, what is this? I got to figure this out now. And then like that kicks the whole thing. And that kicks the incredible second half of this movie into action. Because the second half of this movie is
Awesome. It's
Yeah.
nonstop. Which I do quickly want to talk about Edna.
okay.
Just like when she's talking to Helen. It's great because like the way she talks and delivers what she's saying and behaves, it's almost like she's being like evil and like scheming.
She's like,
But really what
mysterious,
she's
yeah.
doing is like pushing Helen in the right direction to like really consider like, what is Bob doing? Why is Bob doing this? What should you do in response to this? And she does the whole thing where she's like, you're Elastigirl, and like gives her a whole pep talk and is like, and Helen's still kind of like hesitant about it, but I don't know. I feel like Edna's just really good in that scene as kind of like the push that Helen needs. Because even when all of the evidence is lining up, Helen's still like, he wouldn't lie to me. And Edna kind of needs to be like, I don't know. Maybe you should call his work or something. Or
Yeah.
Anyway.
And then he got fired. What the heck?
Yeah, crazy. So I'd say that's one scene. Another scene, I think that the action sequence where it's like Violet and Dash trying to figure things out in the jungle, and then also like Helen sneaking around saving Bob and then going to the jungle and then all meeting up.
I think the
that
first night
whole
on the island
sequence
is
is
incredible.
like nuts.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. Every scene.
The first night on the island is great, where you get like, and I guess the first day as well,
Yeah.
because then Dash wakes up, and I love the Dash chase
Yeah.
through the jungle. That's got. I
Like,
think
it's
that's one of
such
the
good-
best super speed renderings.
Oh yeah.
Because there's like the Quicksilver sort of like X-Men thing where it's like super slow and you see them like doing all this stuff, or there's like the very quick like where it just like kind of happens and then
Yeah.
you see the aftermath.
Or there's the weird like Flash one where they like
It's a
do some weird
nightmare.
zooming.
It's a nightmare.
It's like interesting.
Wait, do you
But-
mean the show or the movie?
The movie.
Yeah, the movie's a nightmare.
The show was also weird. It just kind of blurs everything.
The
Anyway.
movie's a nightmare.
But, like,
well, because
this
that's
one,
just
it-
Grant Gustin running on a green screen treadmill.
Yeah. But like this one, it feels like I can see everything that's happening and I can just go, wow, that kid's fast.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's not like he's otherworldly fast where he's going to break the universe like this is the most overpowered power.
No, he's just a fast
like-
guy.
The kid can run at like 80 miles an hour.
Yeah.
which is ridiculous. I could do that probably, but like,
well, yeah,
I need
and
to
I
stretch
think
a
I
little
think it
first,
works
but-
really well because what he is running beside is like these fast flying vehicles.
Mhm.
So like obviously we can tell he's going fast because these vehicles, or he's keeping up with these vehicles.
Yeah,
But like,
and then he also runs on water.
yeah.
So sick.
Well, that's the other thing. He's in like a vast environment. I
Yeah.
feel like if this took place in I think that's a problem with the Flash a lot of the time, is that it usually takes place in a city.
Mhm.
And it's like, I feel like my mind immediately goes, well, there's a building at the end of that street. You're going to run into it. Yeah. Like, whereas like Dash being in like this savannah or like this, or not savannah, but like there's like a mud
Desert
flats
kind of
area.
thing,
There's a
yeah.
jungle. There's the water. Like, because he's got so much room, they're able to play with it without it being like, I don't know. I don't believe that.
And also at the end of his chase, when he's getting chased through the caves, there's a little lesson that he learns where like he's getting cornered by each of the guys,
Yeah.
but then he survives because he just decides like he slows
He stops.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I thought was just like a nice little touch where it's like the kid needs to just like kind of calm down a little bit.
Not everything is won by going as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just love this movie. Every little thing, every scene feels like there's a purpose. Nothing feels repeated. Everything feels like it's constantly moving forward in like the characters' journeys and also in the journey of the plot.
Yeah.
Just not to like, I'm not trying to poo-poo anything,
Sure.
but just to like contrast that with how I felt about Kubo, where I was like, I don't really feel like anyone is making progress here. I think things are just happening.
Yeah, the characters are what they are.
Yeah.
The only changes are really when they like learn new things.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like,
But they don't even learn them. They're taught them basically.
yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, yeah. But in this one, it's like that things are happening to them. They are having to react to it. That is changing who they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's another favorite scene of mine? I like the end. We haven't really talked about Frozone that much.
We can get to that.
Okay.
Can I throw out another good scene
Sure.
though? The plane. When
the plane's great.
the
yeah.
whole plane scene, Helen being like, oh, fucking Tango Foxtrot 9er, and like,
Yeah,
like
she's
all this
like
stuff.
Tina Fey and Whiskey Tango Foxtrot.
Maybe.
You ever seen that one?
Nope.
WTF.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. I can't. It takes a comic mind like Tina Fey to come up with something like that.
That is crazy.
Actually.
But like, I think that like that's just such an intense scene, and like they play so well with like showing. That's mine.
Oh my god.
With showing my phone has never gone off and Calder not immediately looked around in a panic.
Well, because I'm like so much more popular than you, so I figure that most of the time it's me. And my plugs do need to know.
I like how I told you that it was my phone and you're still frantically looking for your phone.
You can keep talking. I kind of like just talk through all your bullshit. So maybe you could try to figure out
But
how
they
to keep
they
talking.
they jump perfectly between like showing Bob like panicking, freaking out about like it's my wife. It's my wife that who's like gonna be like shot down, and then realizing that the kids are also there and freaking out about it, and like cutting between that and the plane and them actually being in full panic mode. They're losing their minds. They think they're gonna die. You know what I mean?
Intense.
It is massively intense. The music's great. They cut between it like there. It feels like the scene has exponentially faster cuts throughout the scene, where it's like as things get more panicked, there's more cuts. There's like a lot of things being said. Also, that's like, I think the scene where Frozone goes from like, or not Frozone, Syndrome goes from like bad guy to like evil villain man.
Yeah.
Where he's literally like, I forget what the line he even says, but he says something about like, this is like what you get for 15 years ago or whatever. And it's like, dude, you were a parasocial freak, loser, stalker guy. And yeah, Mr. Incredible was a little mean.
But he's also a child with no powers.
Yeah. Who's like saying like, hey, that's like if I went up to like If I showed up to Adam Driver's house and was like, "Yo, I'm like Adam, you're Adam D, and I'm like Adam C. I'm like the side guy, and like we can just like do a bunch of movies together." And he was like, "No," and then I was like, "I'm gonna kill your wife and kids." It's like, I don't know.
Be talking about things that are currently under litigation.
What?
Okay, yeah, you can pretend like that doesn't actually happen.
Okay, but like the point is that kind of made me go, oh wow, he's like a horrible, and I think that's when Mirage notices as well.
Yeah, I think when the plane explodes, that's when she's like, wow, and then he picks up Mirage, and then he's like, kill her, you little fucker.
Yeah, he's like, fine, kill her, I don't care. And Mirage has a conversation with Syndrome later where she's like, it is not weakness to value life, and it is not strength to disregard it. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he's just being whiny and annoying.
How do you think he does his hair? Gel? You think he's
I think it's a hat.
Hairspray? You think it's a hat? Okay. I wrote down the music in this movie should be considered sex work because it's so good.
I like
it's like,
that.
Like, I think the one I'm thinking of is like Dash runs onto the water, and then it's just like the little piano taps where like when he's like trying to when he thinks he's gonna like drown.
Oh yeah, well yeah, when I did the little sound by patting my chest earlier for his little running, like that's kind of what I was talking about. Dash running is like honestly kind of ASMR. It's like the perfect little taps.
And then there's also like a lot of jazzy kind of like Bond. Yeah, that's great. That training sequence, man. The like that little montage,
so good.
That just gets it going. What are you doing over there?
I'm just
you texting your mom,
dude. Okay, I'm calling you out. I'm calling you out big time. Here we go. My phone goes off. You panic. You look around like you've lost your wedding ring, and it's the day of your wedding, and you're like, oh shit. That's how you panic when my phone goes off. And then I acknowledge it, and you're like, I talk through your bullshit. I take my phone to check the text, make sure it's not some emergency important.
Is it an emergency?
No.
So I guess you didn't need to check it. Huh?
Well, that's not how that works. Now I know it wasn't an emergency.
You're under the eyes of the law, and you will die.
You know what character you are from this movie? The Underminer, because you're undermining everything I say.
I'm undermining everything you say? Are we fighting right now?
Yeah, but I'm joking. I could tell by that you were not
Honey,
joking.
Where's my super suit? Frozone.
Also, it turns out his wife's name is Honey.
I know.
Yeah, which I didn't realize until this time.
Frozone, the coolest character to have the worst power?
I think his power's cool.
I know. But it's
I
like
think he does a lot with it.
It's not the best power.
No, it's just create ice.
Mm-hmm. I think his gear is sick as fuck.
Oh yeah.
The skates in his little shoes.
Yeah.
But then he's kind of got to do that everywhere.
Yeah.
Unless the skates pop into the bottom of his feet. But then he's got to have tall shoes.
Wait, does he have skates?
Yeah, he's got skates in his thing. That's how he's like.
I assumed that he was just like gliding on the ice
With his feet?
Yeah.
But then he also has skis and a sled.
Yeah, he does have skis and like a little
skates.
snowboard. Okay. I don't know. It's probably some Edna Mode genius. She's done it again.
Yeah, that's actually probably true. Actually,
Probably true.
Here he goes again. Taking me downtown, George Brown, and ruining my life. Now, Frozone kind of holds the spot of guy who's trying to move on with his life.
Yeah.
But good friend. Just trying to help his friend.
He has the classic line of being like, hey, Bob, what? Because Bob and Frozone, Lucius, is his name. Bob and Lucius like sneak off to like do whatever, listen to like police radio scanners and stuff. But they say like it's bowling night, or they say like whatever it is. But Lucius is like, you know what, Bob? What if we actually did the things we tell our wives that we're doing? Like, I kind of want to go bowling. And that kind of just sets up that like he's kind of accepted that his super days are behind him. He still holds onto his suit. He's still got his like
sometimes
the wall that like turns out, and like he's not put it behind him, but he's very clearly like he's focusing on like what his life is now, which Bob is not doing at all.
I wonder where his super suit was. You know?
I think it was probably like in the washing machine.
But why are they washing it if he's not using it?
Well, maybe he did a kid's birthday party or something.
Kid's birthday party? Are you fucking kidding me, man? He's got a secret life. He's going out on the town. He's...
What is that? What is that?
That's his ice.
Do it again? Not even close. I do kind of like how his using his ice like doesn't make almost any sound, because he's basically just tossing snow around. Like at most it kind of just makes like a, you know.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, skating's not very loud.
What'd you think of when Lucius first shows up and Dash spits water at him and he freaks out about it going on the floor? And then he goes, "Oh, I like when it smashes."
Carefully catches it. Like I'll carefully catch you after I slice your head open.
That's interesting for sure. Also, Syndrome became an arms dealer.
Yeah.
I never really realized that he's like, and I became rich by selling weapons. It's like, jeez, man.
Yeah, you know, you got to do what you got to do sometimes in this fucked up world, in this fucking fucked up place.
Bad guy.
Now, the moral of the movie, the encapsulation of all the themes and everything, is basically that families work when everyone is able to be themselves.
Yeah. And accept each other.
And this kind of like happens for the first time when they all fight together. Mm-hmm. And then it just kind of like, as they work together more and more, they kind of mesh more and more.
Well, because even from Helen saving Bob to that scene, Helen is like not happy with Bob. Bob's like, "You want to fight, but I'm just happy you're alive." But Helen is like, "I don't think you're striking the proper tone here," because she's like, "Dude, you lied for months and ran off," and like they're arguing, blah blah blah. But like then they fight together, and I think the spark of what started their relationship when they were both superheroes, kind of doing their own thing, it kind of like revealed itself again. They both look at each other and go, "I love you." And I like how instead of Dash and Violet being like, "Ew, mommy, dad, you ew," they're just like, "Whoa." Like they say, "Whoa." I don't know. I feel like a lot of movies, especially kids movies, will like be like, and the kids find their parents gross when they like like that happened in Kubo as well.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
But then like, I don't know. I kind of like in this movie them being like, "Oh, whoa, our parents love each other." And like kind of realizing that. And I think that makes, because also throughout that scene, Dash and Violet kind of become closer. Like Violet protects Dash. Dash saves Violet when she's about to be shot. Like they work together doing their weird little force field ball roll move, which is weird. I don't know. It does feel like it all comes together, and that like everybody sees their family members for like who they are rather than like
the sort of like
who they want them to be, I guess.
Yeah, they were before.
Yeah.
I think unless you want to read off some of your notes, we should move into the next section of this podcast.
Sure.
Do you have anything on there that you would like to read?
I didn't write a lot of notes for this movie, honestly. I was kind of just enjoying it. I did notice that Dash's full name is Dashiell Robert Parr.
Dashiell Robert Parr.
Yeah, Dashiell is an interesting name.
I don't think it's Dashiell, but
I already said the thing about like Syndrome being a parasocial freak stalker and then killing his whole family.
yeah, you said that a couple times. Yeah.
So
Is that it?
yeah.
Okay. Should they do a live action Incredibles?
No.
I feel like we might be getting to that point in the next 5-10 years.
I sure hope not.
I mean, I
If
guess they
anything,
haven't
I
done
want them
any-
to like just remake it, but like with like higher quality animation or something.
They haven't really done any Pixar live action, have they?
No.
I
Well,
guess
I
Cars would
wonder
be
if
kinda
Pixar
hard.
kind of like has control of that because they've talked about doing like a live action Moana, but that's Disney. You
Yeah.
know, I don't know if they do a live action Pixar. I hope they don't.
I hope they don't as well. I hope that the Fantastic Four movie, whenever that comes out, if that ever comes out, for Marvel is good.
Mm.
Because there hasn't been a good Fantastic Four movie
Ever.
ever, really. I used to like the original ones when I was younger, because I watched them when I was like a kid.
Yeah.
And they're like, I think I watched one like 2 years ago, and it was horrendous.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I hope the next one's good. It seems like it's not going to be. A lot of people do not seem interested in making that movie, like actors. I think I don't want John Krasinski in it. But also like Adam Driver declined it because of the script.
Yeah. That's a bad sign. That's a really bad sign.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. Pixar problems. We kind of talked about this already. How are you feeling? Are you excited for whatever the next Pixar movie is?
I am excited because I think that Pixar still like makes great stuff. But I do feel like it used to be a thing of like, oh damn, new Pixar movie coming out. Whereas now it's like, oh, there's a new Pixar. I feel like the new Pixar movies have like a bit of a different vibe.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I don't know, like like this new one coming out. I forget what it was called. It was like Elio. It looks interesting. But like I don't see it and go, oh wow. Like I watched the Inside Out trailer and I was like, whoa. And like same with Soul, where I was like, whoa, this is like a cool kind of high concept, like very like emotion and like looking into like the human condition and like the human spirit, whatever, blah blah blah. Like I'm really interested in that. But I feel like now it's things like Elio, where I'm like, that seems cool. That looks cool.
I feel like
I guess.
I feel like a good Pixar movie has to be something that you can only make animated.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Mm.
And I feel like the Incredibles movie, you can kind of only make it animated, which is why I don't.
You
want
can
them
only
to do
make
a
it
live
animated
action.
if you want it to be good.
Yeah.
Because, like, I'm sorry, you're not making Elastigirl look good in live action.
Yeah. That's
like,
true.
like her, like when they do the scene of, like early, when like Helen and Bob quote unquote meet.
Mm-hmm.
They're just playing around, but like they've met before. But like they pretend to have like just met for the first time or whatever. And she like elastics over the buildings and stuff. That looks so cool and it looks good. Not a chance you're doing that in a way that doesn't look freakish and horrible.
Yeah.
There was one scene that Olivia made me rewind. It's when they first get onto the beach after Elastigirl's a boat. And it's her climbing through the sand, and she's slowly like going back from boat form into Helen form, and she just looks like a weird little slug. That's the only time that it looked weird to me.
Where she's not hot.
No, I mean like it looked unnatural. Like
I
she
think
looked
it's
like a
because she's,
deflated balloon.
She's like stretching a little as she crawls, so like her legs are kind of lagging behind her body.
Yeah, it just looked a little slug-like.
Yeah.
But like that's the thing.
Hard to be a boat for that.
Imagine that being a real human being you're looking at. It would not work, I don't think.
We gotta start trying to sell our Flat Stanley script.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think LEO seems like an idea that is not super interesting to me.
It's just like,
And
okay,
like the
cool.
idea of Lightyear, that doesn't get me excited.
Even the idea of Toy Story 5, I'm like, do we need to? I don't think we needed to do Toy Story 4. Like, it
Yeah.
was a good movie. I'm sure 5 will be a good movie, but like, I'd rather
Inside
get
Out
something
2?
else. Yeah.
What? Why?
Because Inside Out was a hit, so I guess they've got to make 2. No, you don't. There's a
Yeah.
reason there's no Wall-E 2.
That's true.
You know?
Or Ratatouille.
Ratatouille. And that one's just begging for a sequel. It's in the title. Ratatouille.
Two up. Up two? That's a little. I must have not known what I was writing because these aren't questions that I've written in my question section. I just wrote IYO.
IYO?
I don't know what that means. What's the hottest Elastigirl scene from all your research? Like
From both
statistically,
movies or in this movie? I mean, the iconic scene is when she looks at herself in the mirror. That's like the one that kind of sparked everything.
I think the one that really shows what she can do, though, is the hallways and the doors.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that shows her potential. In a sexual realm, I guess I could say.
Sure.
Sorry to keep it PG for everyone, but in a realm where you're horny as fuck.
Yeah. Excuse me.
But
yeah,
I
know.
guess her looking in the mirror. Is there like a hot one from Incredibles 2 that people are into? As the expert, you're the expert, obviously. As you're the expert.
I don't know if there's like a specific scene from Incredibles 2 that people look at. There's a shot where she's like going upstairs into a plane that people look at. But like I don't know. It's more that like here's the
suits.
thing.
I like the suit a little better in Incredible 2.
Really, like the silver?
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool.
It is
It's
kind
a
of
cool
cool.
suit.
But I prefer the classic red, if I'm being honest.
Basic ass fucking bitch.
All right, I don't care.
I don't care at all.
But yeah, I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't really think there's many like, whoa, dude, Elastigirl's so hot in this scene, because it's Pixar
more of a
movies.
vibe, I think.
Well, it's more just like her herself, you know.
I think
I don't
it's
know.
her
And there's something
vibe.
very badass about her as well, which I think, at least for me, adds to it. Where like, I don't know, especially in the second movie, she's very like. Actually, I
Girl
guess it's
boss,
more in this movie. She's
girl
very
boss.
take no prisoners, like, you know what I mean? She's very cool. I don't know.
You never
Great
played the
character.
Incredibles video games, either
No,
of them?
I did not.
I played the Underminer one. It was one of those games where I fired up a bunch, but then couldn't get past the first level because I was stupid and didn't really understand how a game worked.
Yeah, man.
Adam Driver.
I know who.
Who?
The like government guy who's like who talks to him.
Interesting. That's fascinating, actually.
Which I could tell very much that guy was like very clearly based on what's his name? How am I
J.
forgetting
Edgar
it?
Hoover.
No.
John F. Kennedy.
He's in Men in Black, but he's not.
Oh, Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, Tommy Lee Jones. I was like, that's just animated Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, J. Edgar Hoover.
But yeah, I don't know.
Voyage.
I'd probably cast Adam Driver there.
Wait. I have other questions to ask you. What would your superhero name be, and what would your power be?
Oh man.
Because there's some really good superhero names.
Yeah.
Bon Voyage.
Gazer Beam.
Gazer Beam's a bit of a rough one.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's just like, looking at it now, it sounds a little weird. Gazer Beam?
But he's gazing beams.
I know that's what it is. I'm just saying the name Gazer Beam is kind of like, let's do a second draft.
Okay. I see.
I just don't want my name to be Gazer Beam.
Well, you don't have to because he's dead.
Yeah, that's actually good that he's dead. I'm glad that he's dead, actually. Just sort of like don't really like superheroes who look at things and then they...
I also don't really like any sort of laser eyes.
Yeah, that's just not really been my thing.
Me neither. Honestly, like, of these characters, I think I'd most want to have Elastigirl's powers. Like, I just think the stretching is much more interesting. Like, strength is cool. Going fast is cool. Violet, like, having 2 powers, basically, where she could go invisible and create these little shields is pretty rad. But, like, I don't know. Something about, like, the stretching is just, like, really cool.
I like Frozone the best.
Yeah?
I don't think he's got the best powers.
He's got the coolest, like, branding and vibe, though.
Yeah. And it looks like he has fun. You know, he does flips.
Yeah.
No one else really does flips in the movie.
No.
He can make it, you know, he wants a cold drink. That you can do that easy enough.
I'm just getting a drink.
That's good, actually.
Thanks.
You sound exactly like Samuel L. Jackson.
But, like, as far as my superhero name, it would probably end with boy. I feel like I'm a boy type superhero.
Stretch Boy?
I was more thinking, like...
Elastaboy?
Oh, yeah, I guess well, what would my powers be? I guess elastic powers are cool, but I feel like I'd want, like... I don't know.
A
I'd
little
want
sweetener?
some sort of, like, element type thing.
What do you mean? Like
something
fire?
around, yeah, but, like, something around an element.
You want to have fire and also stretch?
You say yours while I think.
So I like the Frozone powers. I like where we're going with that whole scenario. But, like, I also want a little fire in my repertoire. So I think I'm going to go Icy Hot. That's my name.
That's good.
And then one side of me does fire and the other side does ice.
That's pretty cool. I like
and
that.
I've got, like, the skates. I've got the little trinkets in the bottom. And also got a fire extinguisher on my back.
I know what I'm going with.
Okay.
It is just elastic powers. My name is Rub Boy. It's like rubber, but I am a boy, so it's Rub Boy.
All right. Where are we ranking this?
Guy
names himself Rub Boys.
Can I just quickly say my overall thoughts that I wrote down?
You can attempt, but I might yell over you.
Aside from the odd Aside from the odd shot or joke that hasn't withstood the test of time, this film is an excellently paced adventure with some
jokes didn't
strong
withstand the
themes
test of
about
time?
family, responsibility, and accountability.
What jokes? What do you mean? Like they didn't age well, or they just weren't as funny?
I don't mean didn't age well as in like yikes, that didn't age well, like problematic. I mean they didn't age well, like
They're just not as funny.
they're just not as like
some
like
crusties
the
in
that
those.
was totally wicked, like that killed back in the day. But now watching, I'm like, whatever. Every movie has like a that was awesome line.
Yeah, but did they steal it from The Incredibles?
I don't know.
That's the
maybe.
thing you got to think.
But I meant more like also some of the like participation trophy jokes were just like whatever.
I don't know. That was a joke. I think he's being serious.
And then there was just like maybe in the whole movie there were like 3 shots ever where I was like, the animation there's like a little questionable. But like aside from that, it's like pretty incredible. Pretty incredible. The Incredibles. We
What if
watched
they
The
remake-
Incredibles.
He's turning on his squeaker mode. What if they made The Incredibles but with NBA 2K23 animation?
It would be really bad.
Why would that be bad?
I like how you and I were playing last night, and Olivia was like, "Which year did this come out?" And I was like, "This is last year's." And she was like, "This looks bad.
Oh yeah,
This
it's
looks-
bad.
This looks worse than last time." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's the same game every time, man."
What are you gonna do?
All right, where are we
It's-
ranking?
we're
I
having
say you
fun.
say first, because I think I know where I'm wanting to put it.
Interesting. I have to say it first. I think top 10.
Okay. That's not a spot, but
Fucking kill me.
actually, because I'm also thinking top 10, so I guess we can just debate where.
Okay. Where?
I don't think top 5.
You don't think top 5?
Or maybe like in the lower of top 5. Actually, no, maybe. Oh man, I'd rather watch Incredibles than almost all these movies, even though they're really good. Here's what I'll say. I don't want to put it above Spirited Away.
I agree.
I don't think I want to put it above Waves or Booksmart.
Okay.
7, I'm debating. Alien, I'm debating.
I could put it above 7.
You could put it above 7?
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. This is a good
Incredibles
film.
at number 4.
Incredibles at number 4.
Under Booksmart, above 7.
and only one of us can do it.
And
only one of us can do it.
I've got it. I've got it here.
Oh.
And I just inputted the data.
Dude,
you
got to stop pressing buttons.
The data's been inputted.
You hit. This is what Calder typed into our list. HGF HFG HGFF HG
Now,
FHG.
for all of those interested, thank you for listening to the podcast. I know this is probably the number 1 episode of a podcast that you've listened to.
Yikes.
Next week our movie is Surf's Up.
Surf's Up.
Maybe an underrated masterpiece.
A little. We'll maybe get into what you and I are thinking regarding that topic next episode. Next episode, we'll probably talk about what we think about the movie for next episode. Surf's Up.
Surf's Up, underrated masterpiece, potentially, or a big pile of dog shit.
We'll see.
Who's to tell?
We'll see.
Thank you for listening. Maybe you could follow the show or download the show.
Give us a rating. Give us a review.
Loves to interrupt me. Oh, my God. I was getting to rating. I was getting to review.
Sorry,
I
didn't realize I had to lay out the red carpet for the final for you to wrap.
You
up
didn't
the
lay
show.
out dog shit for me. I worked my ass off.
I worked hard to get here to talk about it.
Okay,
I'm interrupting, man. If you're not going to speak the English language, I've got to cut you off. At least speak another real language.
Oui, monsieur. Oh,
Oui, monsieur is what you went with?
Right in your head?
The
Bradley
best thing that you can do, regardless of sharing, liking, or reviewing, whatever
interrupts me, can't say a fucking word.
The best thing you can do is share it, and like tell
sharing
people.
Is caring.
Telling people if you like the podcast, telling people, hey, if you want a fun movie podcast. But if you don't like it, we'd prefer that you just don't say anything.
Does that happen? Do you get heckled a lot, Adam?
No, I just don't. I think like if you like it, for sure, recommending it to people would like really help us. But if you don't like it, I wouldn't say don't. I wouldn't say to not recommend it. You know what I mean? Like, don't go and be like, don't listen to this podcast. It's not good.
That's interesting. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you next week with or without Adam. We'll see. Might be dead. Goodbye.
Bye.